Hi guys, back again. Another edition, Football Heaven 24/7. I'm your host Jamie. Gonna launch straight into predictions for the coming weekend's games. Obviously, the weekend coming up, which I believe, if I've got it right, is the 11th through to the 12th or 13th. So I'm going to go of August. So it's going to be the first weekend of Premier League action. Also, I'm going to include Championship, League One, and League Two predictions. What I'm not going to be doing this season is I'm not going to be covering. I'm only going to be covering like Champions League scores, results probably. Obviously, midweek games for Premier League, Championship, League One, and League Two. But I'm not going to be covering the Carabao Cup until it gets to sort of like quarter-final stages or something like that. Same for the FA Cup. But anyway, going to jump straight in. Predictions for the weekend. The first game of the coming weekend that's going to kick off the start of the Premier League for 2023-24 season. It's Burnley, run by Vincent Kompany, the former Manchester City defender, and he's up against his old team that he played for in his career, Manchester City, run by arguably the world's best coach, according to a lot of people, Pep Guardiola. Manchester City, obviously, they won the treble last season, did some really amazing stuff, absolutely smashed it, winning the Premier League, the Champions League, and the FA Cup, which has not been done in England since 1999 with Manchester United. And before that, it was never achieved by any other club. So, in English history, or British history, should I say, because you've got to include obviously the Welsh teams that are part of the Football League: Newport, Cardiff City, and Swansea, obviously. But I'm going to jump straight into that fixture. So, Burnley against Manchester City promises to be a really, really good time. Manchester City are obviously the favourites. Coming into the game, Manchester City, they've got no fear of anybody. Burnley, they came into training about a month and a half before anybody else, pre-season training. Vincent Kompany wanted them to get them to a good standard so they'd be ready for the Premier League. In my opinion, I didn't do my predictions, but I'm going to do my predictions for the Premier League after this episode. But I'm going to jump straight into it. I think it'll be a really tight game. I think Manchester City will have. They've just come off the back of losing the Community Shield. I forgot to mention that in my last episode. They drew 1-1 after 90 odd minutes, 11 minutes of injury time against Arsenal. But Arsenal won on penalties 4-1. Cole Palmer scored on the 77th minute for Manchester City in their last game in the Community Shield final. But Leandro Trossard equalised in the 11th minute of injury time right at the end of the game to take that game into penalties. And like I say, Arsenal won 4-1. So Arsenal get the first silverware of the season. Manchester City, they're away at Burnley. I'm going to go for them just to win narrowly. I'm going to go 2-1 to Manchester City in that game. I think Burnley will put up a good fight purely because Vincent Kompany's playing against his old team, and I don't think his old team, even though they did smash him in the cup competition last year, I don't think they'll go crazy on Vincent Kompany's team. So 2-1 Man City is my prediction for that one. Jumping into the rest of the Premier League's fixtures on Saturday, the early kick-off is Arsenal against my beloved Forest. Now, I'm not very optimistic, although we did have a good end to last season, Forest. We did get 4 wins out of the last 6 games, which inevitably helped us to stay up. Other good news for Forest fans and for Nottingham Forest in general is Taiwo Awoniyi in those last 4 or 5 games of the season scored 6 goals. He scored 6 goals in 4 games even. One of those was against Arsenal, 2 was against Chelsea. We know Chelsea had a bad season, but that's a slight reason for optimism amongst Forest fans. Gibbs White was amazing last season, Morgan Gibbs White, and so was Brennan Johnson. And with Forest have signed Anthony Elanga, but I think it's going to be not quite enough against Arsenal. Arsenal are a really good team. I don't like to bet against my team, as in with scores and stuff like that, but I'm going to probably go for Arsenal to beat us. I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal in that game, if I'm being realistic. Secretly hoping we can nick a draw, like a 1-1 draw or something like that, but it's probably going to be 3-1 Arsenal, so I'll go with that. I think we'll do better than we did last season because we're a more organised team now and a more settled team. But yeah, we'll lose 3-1, I think. Bournemouth against West Ham. Last season, West Ham won 4-0 at Bournemouth. I fancy West Ham to get another result Actually, no, I don't fancy West Ham to get another result. I think it's going to be a close game. I actually think though that it's going to end in a draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in that game. Brighton against Luton. Luton, it's their first time back in the Premier League. Well, in the top flight. It wasn't the Premier League when they were last there in 91-92 season. It was the old First Division back then. But that was the last time they were there, 91-92 season. Obviously, they got relegated. Up against Brighton, who had a great season last season, finishing sixth, and who are going to be playing in the Europa League this season. I think Brighton will beat them, though, quite convincingly. And I'm going to go for 3-0 to Brighton in that game. And then Everton up against Fulham. Gonna say Everton. Fulham had a fantastic season last year. Everton only just escaped getting relegated literally by a couple of points on the last day of the season, winning against Bournemouth. But I think Everton. Calvert-Lewin's been looking decent in pre-season. I'm gonna go for Everton to sneak this one 2-1. So, and then the evening kickoff, which is Newcastle against Aston Villa. Now, Newcastle obviously playing in the Champions League for the first time in 20 odd years. They have signed Tonali, this young Italian lad in midfield. They've also signed Harvey Barnes, the left winger from Leicester City, who was a top scorer for Leicester City in a relegated team, scoring 13 goals. I think those two will influence the game, but Villa have also brought in a lot of good signings. Yuri Tielemans, Diaby from Bayer Leverkusen's a really fast winger. And there's many other good players. They've brought in Pau Torres as well in defence. So things are looking really good for Aston Villa at the moment. They're also playing in Europe this season in the Conference League. But I think Newcastle will have a bit too much for them. I'm going to go for a mad scoreline. I'm going to go for 3-2 to Newcastle in that game. And I think Callum Wilson will get a couple of goals. Then the final game of the Saturday's fixtures for Premier League, it's Sheffield United, newly promoted Sheffield United, against Crystal Palace. Now, I think this will be a tough game, but I think Sheffield United will get something out of this game. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in that game. So that's my prediction for that one. Going into the Championship on Saturday, Birmingham up against Leeds. Birmingham had got a decent draw away at Swansea in the last game. Leeds did all right. They drew 2-2 against Cardiff. In this game, I think Leeds will come out on top. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Leeds. Cardiff is then playing QPR. I'm going to go for Cardiff to win that one 2-0. Coventry City against Middlesbrough. Going to say that's a lunchtime kickoff. Going to go for Coventry City to win that one 2-0 as well. Huddersfield against Leicester. Going to say Leicester to win, and I'm going to go 2-0 Leicester. Hull against Sheffield Wednesday, a Yorkshire derby. Going to say Hull to get a victory in that game. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Hull. Ipswich against Stoke. Going to say that's going to be a tight game. I think there's going to be a lot of goals in that game. I'm going to go 3-2 Ipswich. Millwall against Bristol City. Going to say Millwall to come out on top there. And I'm going to go 2-1 there. Preston against Sunderland. Going to say Sunderland to draw that 1-1 with Preston. Rotherham against Blackburn. I'm going to go Blackburn to win, and I'm going to say 3-1 Blackburn. Southampton against Norwich. Going to go for Southampton to beat Norwich, and I'm going to go 3-1 Southampton. Watford against Plymouth. I think Watford will continue where they left off in the last game, beating QPR 4-0, and I'm going to go for Watford to win that game 2-0. And then finally in the Championship on Saturday, it's West Brom against Swansea. And West Brom, a bit unlucky away at Blackburn. They did come a bit more into the game. They lost 2-1 there on the first day of the season. They're up against Swansea. I think that this will be a tight game. I'm going to go for 2-1 to West Brom. So that's my predictions for Premier League and Championship on Saturday. I said I was going to do League 1 and League 2. I don't think I'm going to do that because it makes the video drag on way too much. And there's not many people that I know that watch these episodes that watch those lower league teams in League 1 and League 2. So certainly I'm a Forest fan. I have got Scunthorpe in the Conference North that I keep an eye on, that I grew up near that town when I was a kid. But I don't really have that much interest in League 1 and League 2, to be fair. If anyone does want to hear stuff about that, apart from the reviews that I do obviously every weekend, I don't think I'm going to do predictions on those leagues, though, as in score predictions. So We're going to dive straight into Sunday's games in the Premier League. Brentford are up against Tottenham in the 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. This Sunday coming up. Brentford had a good season last season. They finished 9th. Tottenham had not a very good season by their standards. They finished 8th. I think it's going to be a tight game, this one. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. There's still rumours that Kane's going to go to Bayern Munich. There's all sorts of stuff going on at the moment. So 2-2 for that one. Chelsea's then up against Liverpool now. It's Pochettino's first game in charge as Chelsea manager. Pochettino was the Spurs manager, as a lot of people know, for a number of years. Done some good things at Tottenham. Got them to Champions League final. Got them finishing second in the Premier League, but they could never actually win any trophies, and that became a source of frustration for the hierarchy at Tottenham. But I bet looking at it all now, since what's happened, they're wishing that they kept Pochettino. But I think Chelsea will have a decent season. I think that Chelsea will end up being in the top 6 this year. They finished really poorly last year. I think they finished 10th or 11th. It was really bad. And they're up against Liverpool. Now, I fancy Liverpool to have a good crack at it this year. All the talks about Arsenal and Manchester City, but I think Liverpool are going to sneak up there, possibly get second place. So I can't see them winning the title, I don't think, but I think it could be second place. But so my prediction, though, I think Chelsea will put up a fight, but I think Liverpool will win this one 2-1. So that's my prediction for that game. And then finally on Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football of the season in the Premier League, it's Manchester United up against Wolves. Man United have brought in Højlund from this young striker from Atalanta, the Italian team, and they've brought in Nana in goal to replace David De Gea. I think they'll be all right this season. I think Man United will finish in the top 4 again. I'm going to go for a reasonably easy win for Man United. I'm going to say Man United to win this one 2-0. So that's my predictions for all this weekend's action coming up in the Premier League and the Championship. Whoever you support, as I always say, I hope that they get the result that they need, but we all know we can't win every week unless we support Manchester City, so or possibly Arsenal this year, or maybe even Liverpool. We don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. All those people that get to listen to me already, if you can just get more people to like and subscribe, build this channel up. I can do more things. Then I can get more better content. Maybe I can even get people doing the graphics, all this kind of mad stuff. But for now, this is how we've got it. And I'm really appreciative of all those people that have supported me all last season. I've been going for about a season and a half now, so coming into this season, so should be good. All right, have a great week, and bye for now. And I'm going to do another episode, as I say, covering other stuff later on today. So you're getting a lot of content on the first day of this week to make up for the lack of content that I'd produced over the summer when the football was off. So have a great one. Bye for now.